Alternators can be divided into two. First one is called the rotating armature type. Rotating armature type. So if you see this particular drawing here, this is the armature, right? This is the armature and this is the field. So in this, the armature is rotating. You are taking out the voltage using the slip rings. Okay, so that is the rotating armature type. Now this is only usually used for low voltage machines. Low voltage machines, or we can better than using the word low voltage, smaller power output machines. Okay, that's a better term, smaller power output machines. So we use the rotating type armature type for smaller power output machines. So another type is called the fixed armature type. Okay, fixed armature type, or so in this case the armature was rotating, right? So in this case, the next case, the armature will be fixed and the field will be rotating. Okay, so here it will be the rotating field type. And in our AC machinery fundamentals, we have been looking through rotating field machines. Why? Because these are mostly used for high power outputs which are found in the power stations. Okay, for example, the voltages range can be from 3300 volt to 66,000 volt. At this particular ranges, we never use rotating armature type. We only use rotating field type. Why? Because in the rotating armature type, you are using slip rings, right? So for smaller voltages, the contact between slip ring and brushes might not be a big problem. But for higher voltages like 3300 volt or 66,000 volt, the contact between the slip ring and the brushes will produce huge sparks. Okay, so in that case, it is better that you keep your armature steady like this. Okay, keep your armature steady. Alright, and then you rotate your field. Okay, you rotate your field, and because this thing is not moving, you can directly extract EMF across the conductors. Okay, so you don't have to have a slip ring type of an arrangement here. So today let us see the other name, which is called the synchronous generator, and why it is called a synchronous generator. Alright, so why it is called as a synchronous generator is because the electrical frequency that is produced. Okay, so the synchronous generator will produce electrical energy, right? And because this is an alternating waveform, it will have frequency associated with that. So the electrical frequency produced is locked in, okay, or synchronized with what? Synchronized with the mechanical rate of rotation. Mechanical rate of rotation of the field of the generator. Okay, field of the generator. Okay, so usually you know that this is the stator. Okay, so this is the stator, and for our examples, we will always take the armature to be in the stator and the field will be in the rotor. So the rotor will be an electromagnet. Okay, and it will be driven by using a prime mover, right? It will be driven by a prime mover at say some speed omega m, okay, or nm, okay, rpm. So it is rotating like that, and so you are going to get some electricity out of here, right? So you are going to get some electricity out of this. So this electricity will have a frequency associated that, right? So this Fe and this Nm are very closely related to each other. That is what is being shown, written in this statement. The electrical frequency produced is locked in or synchronized with the mechanical rate of rotation. Okay, and we have already seen the equation how these two are dependent with each other. That is the frequency electrical, okay, is equal to N of the rotor P divided by 120, right? This N also in synchronous generator is the synchronous speed, right? So it is called Ns. Okay, so the rotor can rotate at only one speed in the synchronous generator, unlike the induction motors. But for the time being, just understand that Ns is the speed of rotation of the field, and F electrical is the frequency of the output of the generator. Okay, so this is the frequency of the electrical output. Frequency of the electrical output, AC electrical output, and this is the synchronous speed of the generator. Synchronous speed of the generator. Okay, and this speed is being provided by us. Now actually, what does this statement mean actually? It actually means, for example, you are producing say 50 hertz or 60 hertz power supply. Okay, you want to produce 50 hertz or a 60 hertz power supply. Okay, it means that the generator should rotate. Okay, should rotate at only a particular speed. Okay, only at a particular speed. Okay, which depends on the number of poles. Which depends on the number of poles of the machine. Number of poles, that is P, this thing, number of poles of the machine. And only at that speed you will get either a 50 hertz or a 60 hertz speed. Let us look at this in more depth. For example, you want to have 50 hertz supply. Okay, and your machine has 2 poles. Okay, so that means F electrical is equal to Ns into P divided by 120, right? Okay, so that means 50 will be equal to Ns into 2 divided by 120. That means in this case Ns will be equal to 3000 rpm. Okay, so what does it mean? For a 2-pole machine, to produce 50 hertz, you have to only rotate the generator's field at 3000 rpm. Okay, any other speed will not give you 50 hertz. So that is the meaning of this. The electrical frequency is logged in or synchronized with the mechanical rate of rotation. Okay, so for example, you want 60 hertz with the 2 poles. Okay, so you will get 60 is equal to Ns into 2 by 120. Okay, so here Ns will be equal to 60 into 120 divided by 2. So this will be 3600 rpm. Therefore, in countries where you need 60 hertz supply, the rotor should rotate at 3600 rpm if it is having 2 poles. Okay, now for the 4 poles we will see. So 50 hertz, 4 poles. Okay, so you know the F electrical is equal to Ns P divided by 120. For Ns we can write it as 120 F electrical by P also. Okay, this is also okay. So you can clearly see as the number of poles increases, the Ns will come down. So clearly, if in the previous case it was 3000 rpm, in this case because you have increased the number of poles by 2, the speed will decrease by 2. So let's see that. So 120 into 50 divided by 4, which will be 1500 rpm. So that means the higher the number of poles available in the generator. For example, you have a 4-pole structure like this. So this is a 2-pole structure. And for example, now you are having a 4-pole structure. So north, south, north, south. So in this case you have needed 3000 rpm. In this case you only need 1500 rpm. Okay, so as the number of poles increases, to produce the same frequency you can reduce the speed of the synchronous speed of the machine will decrease. So today what we are going to do is that we are going to derive a very important expression which is going to be there throughout AC machines. Let it be synchronous motor, synchronous generator or induction machine. This expression will be there throughout. Okay, so it is actually a relationship between the electrical frequency. So what is frequency? It is the cycles per second. Okay, so the electrical frequency, for example in India we are having electrical frequency to be 50 hertz. In US you are having 60 hertz. So the relationship between that frequency and the speed of magnetic field rotation. Alright, till now we have only told that the magnetic field is rotating. So in this case it was a counterclockwise rotation. But what is the speed of rotation? How does it depend upon the poles of the machine and the electrical frequency applied? Alright, so this is the stator which we have used. Okay, so you can clearly see there are 3 coils A, B and C. And A dash is the end of the coil A, B dash is the end of B coil and C dash is the end of C coil. Alright, so we have given 3-phase currents and therefore it will rotate. So let us now just take one point in time. Okay, so let us take this particular point in time, okay, where A is positive and IB and IC are in the negative direction. Okay, now we have to use a small sign convention here. So what is this conductor A? So this conductor A is something like this, right? Okay, it is in this particular axis. So this is A and this is A dash. Now let us assume that when the current is positive in any of the windings, the current will enter A and come out of A dash. Okay, so if you look this from this angle, what will you see? You are going to see A dash here and you are going to see A here. So it is going into the paper, right? So it is like this and it is like this. Now in case A is negative, for example in this area, so this is for this area, you can see that A is negative. So in that case, A and A dash, in that case what will happen, current will come out of A and go into A dash. So this will be like this will be A dash and this will be A. Okay, so this is the sign convention that we are going to use here. So similarly for B also, if B is positive, the current will go inside B and come out of B dash. If B is negative, current will come out of B and go into A dash. So same sign convention we are going to use for all three coils. Okay, when we draw the diagram, it will be much more clearer. So in this particular area, in this time period, let us see what is happening. So IA is positive, right? IA is positive, IB and IC both are negative. Okay, so let us use our convention and see what is it. So IA is positive, right? So here you are going to have the cross here, and here you are having to have the dot. Okay, and IB and IC are negative. Okay, so when IB is negative, this B conductor, which is the starting conductor, will have a dot. Okay, and the ending conductor will have a cross. Similarly in C dash, IC is negative, so this will have a dot and this will have a cross. C is having dot and C dash is having cross. Okay, because it's negative. Now if you see that these three currents are producing a magnetic field, right? These three currents will produce a magnetic field, and you can see that by right hand screw rule, this particular magnetic field will be in this direction. Okay, in the counterclockwise direction. Because that is why how you get a magnetic field if you use right hand screw rule. So this is one magnetic field in green color. Second magnetic field looks something like this. Okay, here the conductors are having current into the coil, therefore right hand screw rule tell me that it will be a clockwise magnetic field. Okay, now if you see this magnetic field, doesn't it look like that you are having a north pole here, okay, and a south pole here? Okay, and you see the magnetic field is coming from north to south. Now depending upon the philosophy which an author uses, sometimes they use this stator as a reference, and then they will tell this is the south pole and this is the north. Of course you can use that also, but then let us follow what Chapman is doing in his book. Alright, so you are having a north pole and a south pole, and this is what I mean by having two poles in the machine. Alright, you are having two poles, north and south, and it is this pole which is going to rotate in time. Okay, so let us see now in detail. Let us take two positions, one in this position and one after one complete electrical cycle, that is 360-degree electrical. After one complete electrical cycle, how does this poles look like, in what position they are, and we will take one intermediary positions also. Okay, so let us see what it looks like. So here I have already drawn the three-phase current waveforms. Okay, so this is I of t and this is your omega t. Okay, so in this particular position I have already defined how it will be. So this is your this will have dot, 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 and these three were having cross. Okay, how I have done this I have already told you. So it looks like, so you just take these two conductors which are having opposite things, then so this will have a magnetic field in this direction, this will have a magnetic field in this direction. Similarly here it will have a magnetic field in this direction. Therefore if you have a north and a south, it will be like this. Okay, now let us take an intermediary position. Now let us take an intermediary position, say this point here. Okay, so in this point you can see, so this diagram I am going to draw with respect to this particular position. Alright, so here what you can see is that IB is positive, okay, and IA and IC are negative. Okay, so that means this will have the B will have a cross, okay, B dash will have a dot, okay, and both A and C will have the dot because of the sign convention, and this is going to have a cross. Okay, so let us see what is the magnetic field direction now. So here if you see that the field will come like this, and here you see means right hand screw rule, field will come like this, and here if you see the field is going to let me just draw the fields first. So here the field is going to have a counterclockwise direction, right hand screw rule, and here it will have a clockwise direction, right hand screw rule. Okay, so what you see here is that in an intermediary position, so this will be the poles, okay, and this is going to be your south pole and this is going to be your north pole. Okay, field is coming out. So you can clearly see that it is rotating in a counterclockwise direction. See, the south pole which was here, it has come in a new position which is here. Okay. Now this was an intermediary position. So let us take from the reference after 360 degree electrical, which is this point. See, what is one complete cycle? It is when the waveform repeats itself. So this is IA at this point and the IA is repeating at this point. So this will be one complete cycle, 360 degree electrical. So that we are going to draw here now. Alright. So let us see what will happen. So this condition and this condition are exactly the same. Okay. See, IA is positive, IB and IC are negative. IA is positive, IB and IC are negative. So what will happen? You will have the same thing here. So this will be dot, 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 and these three will have a cross. Okay. So the magnetic poles also will look exactly the same. So this will be your north and this will be your south. So this is your north and this is your south. Okay. So what has happened is that after 360 degree of electrical cycle, doesn't it look like the magnetic field has rotated 360 degree? See, initially this was this position and then it rotated a little bit and north came into this position, and then finally after 360 degree electrical, the magnetic field also has rotated 360 degree in the mechanical or in the space axis. Okay. So in this case, theta electrical is equal to theta mechanical, and this is how many poles case? 2 poles case. So in 2 poles, the theta electrical is same as theta mechanical. So because it rotates, so if you take an intermediary position of 180 degree, okay, 180 degree of electrical angle, the magnetic field also would have rotated in space by 180 degree. Okay, so for a 2 pole case, the theta electrical will be equal to theta mechanical. That means the omega of electrical will be equal to omega of mechanical. Okay, that means the frequency of electrical will be equal to the frequency of mechanical rotation.